Well, hello there, stamping friends. This is Traci Raether from Plum Crazy Stamping, and today is July 8th, 2026. Wow, July 4th. It was a wonderful weekend. It was a little bit hot here, but I can't believe that that is all said and done. So, onward and forward, and I'm so excited to do the first. Um, I guess what I'll call a launch of Christmas in July today. Um, it seemed like, go from 4th of July and then Christmas. I like both holidays, but Christmas obviously is really one of my favorite times of year for a number of reasons. And so I thought we might as well get started. So, since it was so hot and humid and had a couple storms, I decided to get started on preparing for Christmas. It always seems like I'm going to be so far ahead and I'm going to have my Christmas cards. I'm going to be one of the first ones with them in the mail. And, I don't do so well at accomplishing that goal. So, 2026 is another opportunity to succeed. So, before we get started, and I tell you a little bit more about that and hopefully help you get started on your 2026 Christmas plans, Christmas cards, and other opportunities for paper crafting, I'll just remind you, please put your name in the comments on Facebook. And if you're on YouTube, also, you can use the comments if you are signed into your Google and or YouTube account. Those are the same. You'll be able to use the comments. I'm interested in who you are, where you're watching from. And also in the comments, if you have any questions or feedback on what you're seeing today, please share them. That always helps to help me to know what I can do to help you. And my computer's talking to me. I don't know why. No, don't do this. All right. Well, anyway, here we go. So, what was I doing to get started here? I thought, you know what? I'm going to look at my Christmas card list. And the other thing I'm going to do, I don't know about you, but I do like to keep track of who I send cards to, who sends cards to me. And I was behind. I actually had some 2024 and 2025 ones to enter. And then what I do is I keep track all the stamped cards I get. I keep the whole card. But when I get other cards, I look at those card fronts and think about how I'm going to be able to use them in my crafting this year, whether it be to make Christmas cards, make gift tags, make projects. Last year, I got a new project and it's making shelf sitters. Now, I'll put that out to you so you can look at if you have old Christmas cards laying around, or if you go like to Dollar Tree or somewhere else where you can get cards for inexpensive cards, look at those that have large images on the card front. So a Santa, a snowman, a beautiful cardinal, a big poinsettia plant. Take those and save those because we're going to be using those in our crafts as time goes forward as we get closer to Christmas. I think you're going to love it. I loved it, and I'm so excited. It was something brand new that I tried this last year. Well, hi, Jill. Great to see you. And Kathy and Donna, welcome. All right. So then after I got my Christmas list, in the summer, a lot of times we'll be going to class reunions, family reunions. Maybe you'll run into people on vacation, or you have time to reach out to people and you heard they moved. Make sure your mailing addresses are up to date. So I'm trying to do that because it never fails. I have problems with my mailing list, my printing labels, and I want to get that done early. Okay, then the other thing I've been doing, and this may be something very worthwhile for you as well, is I have quite the stash, right? So I am gathering all of my parts and pieces of my paper crafting stash that have to do with Christmas. So I am pulling out designer series paper. I'm pulling out stamp sets, dies, embellishments, ribbon. That all works. I'm checking to see if I have the cardstock that goes with the designer series paper I have from years before. Let's go ahead, and I want to put this down on the desktop for you. So as I was digging, I found a set of designer series paper that I got late last year and only used for a couple of items. And I thought, this is how I'm going to start out this year. And remember, every pack of designer series paper from Stampin' Up! Has actually the colors that are used so that you can make card bases if you want to use something other than white or very vanilla. And so like this one, Cherry Cobbler, Old Olive, Pool Party, Real Red, Secret Sea, and Gold. So the second thing that happened is, I don't know about you, because I can be a little bit of a pack rat, is I find I have all this beautiful paper I've been saving. This year, I'm using it. But I'm also going to use the specialty paper that I buy that goes with the designer series paper, but I save it. What am I saving it for? I'm going to save it now for 2026 Christmas. So today I'm going to come right out of the gate. The first card that I make with you is going to have gold foil on it. So the nice thing is this designer series paper has gold foil too. So that kind of helped me get going on using some of my things that I save, right? So then from there, I decided that I wanted to, I'm going to feature the designer series paper in what we do today, but I was looking through all of the sentiments that I have, and I have a number of stamp sets that are sentiments. Hi, Sue. Welcome from Michigan. And I thought I'm putting those all out on the table where I'm gathering all of my Christmas items as well. And the really neat thing is I have sentiments. Now, this set in particular, this is retired, but you might want to look at sentiments that go for like across a portrait card that can be single. There's one that would take a whole rectangle of a sentiment label. There are larger ones that could really be gorgeous in the center of a card. There's something short and sweet. Let's say you have a design or a scene you want to create, but you just want something in a little circle or an oval. And then you're going to see with what I'm doing today, I needed something smaller, and 'tis the season is going to be exactly what I need. All right, so got that. Let me show you the card. This is the card we're going to make today. And like I said, this gold foil. And I wanted to start out with a fun fold. So many of you share with me that you want to make fun folds. Well, this is beautiful, but it is easy. And so that's what I want to show you. And then you open it up, and there's even some surprises inside. So we're going to do a little fussy cutting today to make this card happen. So we'll set it out of the way right now. And we're going to get our parts and pieces here. And I am going to be putting this tutorial in next week's email for you. And it is going to turn up on my blog, but that might take a little bit longer. So I'll share measurements with you today, but know there are other ways that you can follow up and get those. So being on my weekly email list is always very helpful for that, as well as checking out my blog on a regular basis. Okay, so let's start with the card base here of this card. And this is 5.5. So it's our usual height of our card, but it's 7.25. So it's a little bit short. And then I scored this at 4.25. And then I got the bump side here, remember? And I'm going to fold that forward, and I'll have my card base. All right, and you can see That's what's going to help us see what's inside. And Kathy, hello. Oh, I'm saying it twice. So pretty. Thank you. I'm glad you like the card. And hi, Betty. All right. So we've got our card base. Then when we're cutting our card base, whatever color that will be, I'm using real red. We're going to take a second piece and we're going to do, I'm calling this the hinged card cover. And this is 4¼ by 4¼ square. Okay. Then after I have the square, I'm just going to go to one end and I'm going to score it at 1 inch. And then I'm also going to fold that and, make sure I get a good crease with my bone folder. All right. So we've got the hinged card cover and we've got the card base. Now we're going to do a card insert in basic white. And this is the normal 4 by 5¼ Okay. So when I say card insert, it's going to go right inside of our card. Then also in basic white is going to be the very front of this card. And it is going to be 2¼ by 3¼ inches of just white. And actually this hinged card front is going to come over and we're going to be doing layers to get our card front. Okay. But we've got some work to do on here. So I'm just going to keep this to the side right now. So we've got that. Then we're going to go to designer series paper, which is an important part of this design. And so I picked one of the patterns out of the Traditions of Christmas. And what I liked about this is I wanted to see images and I wanted some space in between it. That's how I chose this one. And that's going to be for the front flap of our card. And then I found a matching piece that was easy to do when you get a set of designer series paper from Stampin' Up! Or when you're looking for patterned paper, find things that go together so that when you want to make a card, you can have more than just one design on a card. And this is actually going to be what we're going to layer on our card front. So we've got our designer series paper for the card front. We have this card front. And you know what? What a perfect place to put the gold. I'm going to actually layer this so that we've got a really pretty card front, okay? So as I'm putting parts and pieces together, I was looking at actually an old tutorial I had, and they had this be red. So if you don't have the gold foil, you could repeat the card base card cover for your card front layer, and you could use real red. All right, so then I thought, you know how we always have little scraps, right, of our designer series paper? Well, here's the edge of a scrap. I'm actually going to incorporate that into my card, so I'll just keep that off to the side. And then I had more little bitty pieces, and I just cut those out, fussy cut them. Why waste these beautiful little flowers, right? So we're going to get those involved. And then I found I had shiny real red. And with the gold, I don't know if you can see, but this shine is actually more of a gold shine, I think, than a silver one. So I thought that would go perfectly with this card. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. We've got our parts and pieces. Let's do our stamping. So the first thing I'm going to do is make my card insert here. And I'm going to use real red. I want this all to blend together. So I've got my ink for that. And on the inside, I'm going to say, wishing you a season of hope and light. What's going to be important here is when I'm stamping, there's two things that I'm going to be watching for. One is I'm going to line up where I'm going to put that extra. Now, where did they go? They're under here. Where I'm going to put the extra piece of fussy cut designer series paper. And I am going to put that right in the corner. so that I know this is going to have to be up higher. And then I want to make sure that it'll be hidden under the flap. Okay. So just as a placeholder, I'm just going to set this here so I know where that is. And what I've actually done then is I've created the place to do my stamping for my inside sentiment. And I'm going to do this before I glue anything down, because if I make a mistake, I can flip it over, right? So I'm just making sure as I ink this up. I knew Christmas was coming, so this is really well inked. All right, and we're just going to go as far over as we can, and I'll get close to this, but it will be on the upper 1/3 of my card, so I can put the family's name or the people I'm writing this to above it, and then write the note below it. So there we have our inside sentiment. Now we're going to do the outside sentiment. And for this one, so I want to put the ribbon on here on the bottom. So kind of just eyeball this, right? It doesn't want to stay in place. There we go. No, it wants to lay upside down. All right. And then I like this for the top. And now I want to get my 'tis the season right in between here. So I do this now instead of doing it as an afterthought, if I know what I'm going to do. Otherwise, it just kind of ends up being a surprise to me as well as everybody else when I do it. Okay, so we've got right in the center, 'tis the season. All right. So we can close the stamp pad up there and we can assemble our card. And I'll tell you what I'm going to do here is clip this right now, because when I was making my sample card, you could tell it didn't have a ribbon on because I forgot to put it on before I put the whole card together. So let's go ahead, and that's where I'm going to start today. And my Scotch tape is actually packed away for an in-person class I'm doing this week. So I'm going to show you another way to anchor this. I'm going to get my Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to do just a little line of this on here, and I'm going to press the ribbon right into the Stampin' Seal. So otherwise I use Scotch tape to tape it on here, but this works too. Oh, and it's not quite straight. Let's get that a little straighter. All right, so that will hold that in place. And then I'm going to get my glue to put my layers together here. And I'm just going to center that on the gold foil. Got a little glue coming out there. All right. And then I'm going to just use a couple dots of glue here to put my fussy cut image on here. And I find that my little curved tweezers really help me to get things in place. Otherwise, I get my fingers involved in it, and I get glue on my fingers. Anyway, this really helps. Okay. So we've got 'tis the season. Now I'm going to tie a little knot on here to make this look like a bow. So I just need a short bit of this. Make sure you cut it at an angle before you tie the knot. So I just slip it underneath and one side over the other. And then once you get it in the center, which sometimes is easier said than done, okay, then pull from one side and you'll get it flat. And I did turn over this side of the bow so that the shiny part was out. All right, and then sometimes when you pull on the end, it gets a little frayed. So there, we'll just retrim the edges. And we've got our bow on there. All right, I'm going to actually put this on top of the designer series paper because I'm not sure that I want to add any more embellishments to this card front with those extra little poinsettias I have. We'll see how this is all looking as we put it together. Okay, and then we'll get it on our card front. Well, you know what? Let me put the hinge on so you can see that. Let's go ahead and do the hinge step so we don't forget it. Because you're going to put it right on top of the card insert. And you're going to make sure that it's evenly placed on here, okay? And then after you glue this 1-inch hinge, then you're going to glue the card insert inside. And then this will open up and come over the front, okay? So let's go ahead and glue the 1-inch hinge here. And so remember, it's to center it. So I like to, before I put it down, actually put it against here. You can eyeball it. And then you can be pressing the card insert right into the corner of the hinge. And make it come down so that it's flush. And I always use my desktop to put that in place too. All right, so our hinge is in place. And now we're ready to put this whole section into the inside of the card. So the big thing about this card design is just having this extra hinged card cover at 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 with this 1-inch hinge, and then putting it over your card insert where your card base is just a little bit shorter to show that feature off. And you could do this for any occasion. All right, so now let's go ahead and get our card front layers in place. And I love using my glue, so I've got the little slide factor, right? Okay, so my question was, did I want to put these on here or just have the ribbon on there? Well, that one's going to be hidden. I think we're going to stop at good enough. Let's say just put the bottom. I don't know. I think that's just a little much. Let's go ahead and put this part inside our card insert. Don't know if you saw, but when I got to the edges of these, I don't want this, getting caught on stuff. So I did put just a really thin line at the end into those. All right, and let's do our card flap now. Now you can leave these plain, if you wanted this just to look like this. You could emboss this, or you can cover it with designer series paper, or you can put a coordinating color on this flap when you're doing your design. So all kinds of, choices that you have. All right, so that is this card design. So up close, I think adding the gold, I love the shimmer of this ribbon. And then inside, and then you have one that doesn't have a ribbon, but I used fussy cut images on both sides and a smaller image just on the top of this one. So I don't know if you like one better than the other, with the ribbon, without the ribbon, what would be your choice? Oh, just the ribbon. Thank you, Donna. Thanks, Sue. Yeah, so with that, I just want to let you know, I went through our most recent catalog. Not a lot, or there aren't any Christmas sets in the most recent catalog that was, what is this one? May to August. Now, September to December, I'm sure there is going to be a whole bunch of them. But there are some suites on the Stampin' Up! In the Stampin' Up! Store, and you can go to my Stampin' Up! Store, and that's listed in my weekly email and also on my Facebook page. And if you would order at least $50, I have this 4-card free tutorial, which uses Scenic Coast. Now, this is in the catalog, and this is gorgeous. And I can't wait. The plan is for me to share this with you, if I can wait, in August, when we're looking at summer memories and what we can do. So anyway, but this is something that I would email to you free with a purchase. The other thing is I am going to be doing a class next Tuesday, and that is going to be all about Christmas cards, making fast and festive cards, and it's about making multiples. And the card I'm starting out with is something that you could use if you have full sets of designer series paper, that would be fine, but it's also perfect for scraps. So as you are looking through your stash, try to find something that either you have scraps or full sheets are fine, and you'll want to make sure that you have Christmas sentiments. And that class I am going to do at a summer special price of $19.95, and that is $10 off the regular $29.95 price. And that is next Tuesday. The live workshop is at 6 p.m. Central Time. And if you can't make it then, it will be available with a video replay and a full written tutorial. Now, I am going to design that class to be a stamp along so that you'll have Christmas cards finished by the end of the class. So once someone registers, I will send you a supply list and you'll be able to get everything ready so that when we're together and I show you how to put those cards together with what was on the supply list, we'll actually be making cards together. It's so fun to do that and see what other people are making with their cards. So that invitation is out there for you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me at Traci, Traci, at plumcrazystamping.com. I thank you again for joining me. Thanks, Kelly. I see that you're on here. Oh, and Donna, I'm glad this is one of your favorites. Mine too. You know, it doesn't have to be hard. We just need to know what to do and then let our creativity take over, right? So happy stamping, friends. I hope to see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye now.